Welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave, and hey, hope you're having the best Monday possible. I'm just finishing up my morning coffee, and I'm ready to go for a good old cryptocurrency Monday. We got some price action happening in the overnight hours, and Asia's waking up for their good old Monday, and the U.S. soon to follow. So let's get into the live scene right over here to get deep and down and dirty into some very serious, very important magic internet money business. So, as always, the biggest, baddest area to be aware of is this guy right over here, 66,000, 6,100, our former breakdown area. As long as we're below there, I am essentially in bear mode, meaning that if Bitcoin can actually get above there, well, I no longer believe that Bitcoin is going to be looking for new lower lows. Either that, or I'm looking for something that is just completely and obviously capitulation, something that's very much resembling it right here, right now. We have nothing so far. So that's my current disposition. Always want to get that out. But we did close a new weekly last night. Let's go look at how he closed as we get on over here to the Bitstamp chart. And a few interesting things, right? Now, first things first, the weekly did close is essentially just continuation dildo. Another dildo below this purple 200 exponential moving average. So to me, that's, we're likely to live under this area for quite some time. Again, you can get a couple of wicks above this on a weekly time frame, but I would imagine that we will be closing below that. And now the 200 exponential, the purple line, is coming in around 4150-ish area, so it is declining. Anyways, with our new weekly, do we have anything to be aware of in the more immediate time frames? Well, that is the better question, as Bitcoin has rallied up to the 3600 level that we spoke on yesterday. Let me actually just get rid of this. We'll come back to this idea a little bit later. But the prior breakdown area from this consolidation tested yesterday, a couple weeks above, both rejections, and now we continue to fill out the range. So what is Bitcoin doing right here? Well, according to the volume characteristics, it does look like we have a very obvious consolidation area-ish phase. Again, just taking everything off and looking at the volume characteristics down around here. Let me just delete that. Get out of there, you damn dirty bitch. It does, we do have this falling volume over here. So to me, that is saying we are consolidating. And if you are looking at this from the current price action perspective, you could say that maybe this is what we're doing. This would make sense with the volume characteristics. Some sort of a rising channel-ish formation. Is it a bear flag? I mean, technically, yes, you are coming off of a downtrend, so you could make the argument for that. But I would be a little bit more comfortable just saying, hey, you got support right over here and you got resistance right over here. So Bitcoin essentially respecting the areas that we spoke about yesterday. Yes, I did take a short off this area right over here. I actually did close it when we came back down below because, well, I still have my positions open from 6,300, so I'm not really looking to add on anything major just yet. And overall, kind of just want to take it easy in my own trading spheres. But hey, if you did take that trade, congratulations. You're well on the green right now, looking pretty damn good, as all of the bulls got like really bullish right over here. It's like, no, that's a classic sell right there for at least a scalp. Not necessarily saying that we reverse all the way to the fucking downside from here. I don't really have a strong opinion on that just yet. I do believe that Bitcoin goes lower over time, but I don't have like a strong belief that we'd break through this area right here, right now. Now, this would be a traditionally bearish formation, this kind of rising channel-ish type thing. I think it's better seen on the 4-hour dildo chart, actually. Yeah, right over here. A little bit better. In fact, I think that we are going to be testing the support of this relatively soon, which it does meet up with this former horizontal right here, so I really like that for good confluence. But something like this, yet the volume characteristics actually make a little bit more sense on the 4-hour as well. So looking at that and looking at our oscillators, 4-hour Stokes are about to, or have turned, and we got our 4-hour RSI getting back into the bearish zone as well, testing that exponential. So I do believe that we probably spend a little bit more time below this area. And, do we break this area or not? That's a real question. If we do start closing 4-hour dildos below 3,400, well, then very likely we will revisit the 3,200 level down around here. Again, I don't have a strong opinion on that. I just have an opinion on what to do if that were to happen. That's all. So going over here to let's go to our daily. We haven't really looked too much at the daily just yet. The 10 simple moving average essentially kind of providing the impetus for that resistance. I think maybe even better seen on the 10-hour. Yeah, a couple of tries at the yellow 21 exponential and then down, consolidating between this area right over here. And yes, I do consider this just consolidation until we actually make a real move. RSI characteristics not really telling us too much. Sometimes you could see, sometimes you can get some hidden bearish divergence on a run like this. And yes, I would be looking for that, especially given the current context of the price action. But we don't have that right now. And if we go over here to the 2-day dildo chart, though, this is where things get a little bit more interesting. As yes, we do have bullish divergence going on over here. Now, I can't stress this enough. I really can't stress this enough. in a bearish market, which yes, we are in a bearish market right now. We've been in a bearish market for quite some time. When you're making lower highs and lower lows, that is certainly a bearish market. I don't play bullish formations or bullish indications. So like a bull, bullish divergence even on a 2-day dildo time frame, which is quite powerful. I don't really care too much to play it, but I will be closing a short. So I am actually looking for places to kind of get a little bit more neutral on. I still have a little bit of short exposure, but mainly just kind of scalping areas here and there and playing options. And you can see that actually our 2-day Stokes never got across the upside. They gave you a little bit of a false positive right over here. So typically that's a pretty damn bearish indication when you kind of snake around like this, even though you are in the more critical zone. This is just a strong trend, and remember, these things can stay down there. There's no such thing as fucking overbought or oversold. I know all the fucking oversold bros on Twitter right now are going crazy, like, bro, I've done the analysis. Ain't no way this thing's going any fucking lower. I'm going long. It's like, okay. Well, why don't we just talk about the shorts on the table too, which we'll get into in just a second. I have a new little tool to actually look at when it comes to that. But 3-day little chart right over here, nothing really positive being done on here either. Do you have bullish divergence on this? No, you don't. And people will be talking about this. The more important thing about the 3-day dildo chart is that you actually have the 3-day dildo death cross going right on over here. That's the green 55 cross on the downside of the purple 200 that was confirmed on yesterday's dildo, and 3-day dildo, I should say. 3-day Stokes still kind of getting it, and overall we only have one example of this actually happening in Bitcoin's history, in Bitcoin's storied history, right over here in good old 2014. But that was actually the death sentence for this one. Kind of similar price action actually, where you had a little bit of a rally into it, and you had the cross, and then in the next week or so, you actually sent onto your red dildo capitulation death hole right over here. So looking at that and comparing it to what do we have over here, kind of similar actually. You have this rally up over here and getting the cross over here, and now we are kind of drooping down a little bit lower. Now, does that mean that the next move for Bitcoin is definitely going to be capitulation? Absolutely fucking not. I need to see price action's reaction to our next level, which, to remind everyone, the levels that I'm looking at are this next blue box territory right in here between about 2,400 and 2,800, and below that, if this one does fail, then I'd be looking towards 1,100 to 1,300, and there will be one right around 1,800 as well. So those are the areas that I'm interested in. This area right over here, this is in no way, shape, or form, in my opinion, capitulation. Everyone's kind of talking about the volume. The volume's so high, it must be capitulation. I can't handle it anymore. That kind of shit. And it's quite concerning to hear, but at the same moment in time, this is not capitulation by any stretch of the imagination. We don't have capitulation volume, which we need to see some a little bit more analogous to this. Remember, this is measured in coins traded, not dollars traded. So when price action over here is literally at $8,000 compared to $3,500 over here, the volume is going to be literally more than 2 times than what we see over here, corresponding to the price. So again, keep that in mind. This can be a little bit misleading, and I really would like to get an indicator that would actually represent volume in dollars traded rather than coins traded. I do now have one for longs and shorts, so we'll look at that in just a second, because I certainly have a lot to say about that. Because you're hearing all the fucking the shorts are at all-time highs. It can't go any lower. We have bearish divergence on the shorts. There's no way. There's no way we're going anywhere. It's like you can't even say it with a fucking straight face. But I've actually seen that before. People are like trying to put divergences on shorts and trying to like do moving averages on shorts. It doesn't work like that. You can only just look at the overall total amount and just notice where people might be getting trapped. That's all you can do. It's a very incomplete piece of information. Anyways. What's even more important about this is on the 3-day dildo chart, we now have the purple 200 exponential and the green 55 exponential getting below that critical area of 6,000 that we spoke about at the beginning of this video. So what does that mean? Well, remember, 6,000 is going to be that pivot point that, as long as we're under it, it's always got to be caution on. Yes, if you do get something very obviously resembling capitulation, it's probably going to be safe, but until you actually get back above there, I'd still always have like a little bit of a tinted yellow light on, and with these major exponentials kind of getting below that area, well, that's just going to put a lot of downwards pressure on price action. Again, when you get across like this, it's not like any sort of like magical fucking Elliott wave fucking Harry Potter shit. It's just telling you the bots and the algorithms are likely to intensify their selling program. So that is the information that we have in the past. That is so far the reaction that we have right here in 2018. Same thing with the 2-day dildo chart. This was your death cross on the 2-day, and really, that was kind of the impetus for us knowing, or I shouldn't say knowing, that's a wrong word to use, but that was the impetus for us saying, okay, it is now extremely likely that Bitcoin breaks 6,000. Yes, we'd been talking about it getting to these levels for the past 8 months, but once we started getting that was, that's when things started to like drastically put the statistics in that sort of favor. And you got the daily dildo death cross right over here. So Bitcoin does seem to really like these areas. Remember though, when you do have price action, occurring very far away from the actual death cross itself, that is not a perfect setup, really. So when you look at this, yes, it's certainly not a picture perfect thing. If price action were all bunched up around here and you got the death cross, and yeah, it'd be like, oh shit, time to get really, really short. But right here, it's pretty far away. So it does feel like this move, got to be careful with it. We do have some indications that it is getting a little bit tired, and I certainly wouldn't. I would certainly agree with that. But again, I'll go with the trend until it tells me otherwise. But the titty sequential over here, the good old titties, giving you a 9 on the 3-day, and yes, that is confirmed on a 9 right down around there. Now, here's the thing: Bitcoin does have a history of playing pretty well in the 9s. We had a 9 right over here, but notice how you actually droop for literally 3, 6, 9. Damn, they fine. Dildos right down around here before you actually have a reaction. You had one right over here, then it took about 3 days to actually boost you right back onwards and upwards. So this is by no means like an immediate thing either. Just something I do want to have on my mind, that going along with the fact that yes, we do have bullish divergence on a 2-day dildo chart. I don't really want to be like piling on the shorts right here. I want to be looking for the next rally. Maybe that was a rally that we just saw. Very possible, but the only way that I get obviously more bearish, and this is, people are going to hate it when I say this sort of thing, but it's not until we actually start closing hourly dildos below our current low, or maybe not even below our current low, but if we started closing it below this area right over here, 3,300, yeah, I'd say that would be probably what I need to see. We do have a rising channel right over here. So can we make a measured move off that? Well, we can. Let's see if it would point back anything interesting. And let's see, we got that right there. Just put that on over there. And I'm making an assumption here. I'm making an assumption that Bitcoin actually breaks 3,400. And again, remember, price action first when it comes to this. So let's actually scroll onwards and outwards, see if this lines up with anything. Yeah, it lines up with this kind of 2,900 level right over here, the one that the red arrow is pointing to. That's really going to be the top of our blue box territory. Remember, going back on over here to Bitstamp. So a lot of things are pointing in this area. That this is like the first area, or sorry, the second area, as this area certainly failed, where I start looking towards it and I start thinking, okay, this is a potential reversal area. So I do want to have my blinders on for that. We are right around the 200 simple moving average as well. If we put this one on, represented, whoops, that's a 2000, but the 200 simple moving average right over here, represented by the red moving average. That's going to kind of hook around onto the top of this blue box territory as well. So we are coming into the thick of a lot of supports, and it really has to be in the back of my mind, okay, this is where you got to be cautious. Closing shorts is the name of the game, not necessarily putting on the longs. I don't like going long in a downwards market, but I'm happy to close shorts and play some options. That's what I'm really interested in doing right now, not putting on longs or anything like that. As this move probably does put on a pretty hefty bounce. Relatively soon. And when I say relatively soon, I mean that's within like a month, I would say. Remember, these things take a long time, and I do believe that we'll be living well under 6,000 for quite some time, but also under 4,150 for a while as well. If people are saying that we're going to go back to like 5,000 or 6,000 in the next couple of weeks, that's like, I don't know where they're getting that from. That would you have to deal with a lot of shit right here now at the 4,150 level, and we're actually going to go through it in depth right now because I do have a few new things to share. So this video right here, we're gonna actually go over a lot of new things. But first things first, this dotted trend line, the one that the red arrows are pointing towards, that is the trend line of Bitcoin that had never been broken up until 3 weeks ago, where we broke it right over here. Then we retested it the following week, which actually confirmed the kill of this purple 200 exponential moving average right over here, testing that dotted trend line, and now we're down. So this is very important, and we're gonna be working off this for a while now. But in my opinion, this is probably going to be the ceiling of our next market cycle. Actually, I've been doing a lot of analysis on the BLX index over here, which is the longest running. And this is just going to look like some sort of matrix shit. But let me explain it. And basically, every time Bitcoin has a parabolic market cycle, it essentially creates support levels which govern the next parabolic market cycle. So you have this first one over here in 2010 to 2011, and you have, your trend line right over here. It gets broken during this kind of accumulation phase, and over here in 2013 it becomes the top, and in 2014 it becomes the top as well, almost perfectly. And Bitcoin never gets back above that area again. Now in the 2011 to 2014 area, we create another support trend line kind of holding up this accumulation phase. And what does that happen to be in 2018? Well, that's actually the top of our 2018 market cycle. Or sorry, I guess this was 2017, fair enough. But now we are working on this guy right over here, which had been holding up that 40. What was it, like 40? I think it was coming in around 4,500, and it was rising over time. Keep in mind, so each and every week it gets higher and higher. It's not like 4,500 is going to be the high of Bitcoin forever. No, it's actually rapidly rising. But that that is going to be rising over here, and that's one that we broke down. So that one likely to be the next high of our next market cycle. So you can almost kind of see potentially, and again, I'm making assumptions here to be very, very clear. This is really forwards thinking analysis, which comes with a lot of assumptions, comes with a lot of contingencies, but hey, we can actually, maybe put something together now. And this guy's, rising over time. And you can kind of see a way forwards that, in like 2022, beginning of 2022, it'd be coming in around 100,000 at the top. Now, I'm not saying that Bitcoin gets to 100,000 in 2022. No, not at all. That would just be the top of it. I mean, this thing, it's, price action could be very fucking far away from the governing line, but that is likely where your next parabolic market cycle does end. However, we're also making an assumption that Bitcoin has another parabolic market cycle. Of course, I do believe in Bitcoin long term, but I have to be very honest with these assumptions that I'm making because I don't want to be like some of the more biased people just drawing lines everywhere and saying, I think it's going here because I own a lot of Bitcoin and fucking hell, man, I hate being wrecked. Now, you will also notice that I have a lower one down around here. And this is what I want to talk about today. This is coming back from, let's actually do this again. Yeah, there we go. This is coming back from the accumulation phase trend line of 2014, and also this guy right over here, and also the parabolic top of 2011. So we do have a nice trend line coming around this area, and this could be where Bitcoin bottoms, and this would be coming in around the 1,600 level. And again, this is like highly fucking variable because we're talking about like very long-term price action. So, I might have it's probably gonna be within like $100, $200 of that. So that kind of does match up with what I'm saying at the 1,300 level all the way to like the 1,800 level. Something like that would kind of make sense to me. Technically, yes, you could make a timing off that, which I don't want to make it sound like this is the end all be all. I don't believe that, but we do have this this kind of this diagonal trend line right over here, which would be intersecting it in late April. Now over here in 2014, we kind of had a similar thing, right? That diagonal trend line is coming from the initial consolidation after the parabolic top. You had your bull trap over here, which failed. Well, we had the same thing in 2018. You had your initial top right over here. You took out your you took out this initial consolidation area or trend line right over here and had the bull trap, and that failed. Well, again, that would actually intersect this area right around, that date, around 1,500, we'll call it, give or take a few $100. It doesn't need to be perfect. Now, you'll also notice that I have this trend line over here as well, this diagonal trend line, which I included the rest of like the bull trap from the high. And that actually does coincide with our bull market starting once you broke that to the upside right over here in late 2015. So I did the same thing for 2018 as well. And, again, for what it's worth, that would be coming in around early November of 2019. So, the prices are actually, pretty fucking low right now too. So keep in mind, but it'd be around 2,200. So maybe Bitcoin comes down around here, then does its thing, and then whatever. Again, I don't put too much weight on this, but if I just thought it was kind of interesting to show. I would not be making long-term decisions off this. I trust technical analysis to kind of govern my lower time frame trading ideas. And yes, we can do longer term analysis as well for sure, but it comes with a lot of contingencies and a lot of things can throw it off. So you'll also notice that we really don't want this diagonal trend line to break if that's going to hold true, because in 2014 it never broke. You actually based off it once and then twice for your ultimate low. Well, we based off it a couple times already, so it's getting pretty fucking close. Yes, last week did kind of salvage above it. But keep in mind, it's got to prove itself, right? It's got to prove itself. So again, as long as that holds, perhaps this does stay true, and again, it does kind of match up with our chart over here, especially if you put on the volume profile. Yes, you do have the 886 Fibonacci retracement. I'm sure that there's probably like the 9. What is the? There's one of the ones that starts with a 9. I forget what it is. I'm gonna go do that after this stream and see if it comes down around here, because that would make a shit ton of sense and be fucking awesome if it did. Volume profile agreeing with this idea as well, saying, hey, we're kind of in no man's land right now. Next big high volume nodes coming in right around here, right around the 24 to 2600 level, and then after that we got the penis accretion and also some higher volume nodes after doing absolutely nothing in this 2000 to high 1500 range until about 1300 1500ish area. So again, a lot of things to be aware of over here, but it certainly was interesting to me, so I wanted to share that. Again, a longer term look comes with a lot of contingencies, so please understand that that's dependent upon a lot of things. Now, here's the thing: traditional markets are in a topping formation right now. This is your SPYs. This is your main index, or at least the main index that I actually look at. I actually used to trade this one, and we can see here that it's basing off the weekly 100 exponential, which is also our horizontal level that we had in for fucking ages. But to me, this is the topping formation. Selling is increasing right over here after this nice bull trap. Another bull trap done right over here and a rejection of the yellow 20-minute exponential on the weekly. To me, this is very likely to head on lower. The question is timing. So typically December is like a slow month where you go sideways to a little bit up. Well, we have a different market this time. There's trade wars and all sorts of bullshit going on right now. So I look at this and it does make me think that this might play out a little bit sooner than I originally thought. I have been bearish on this, but it's timing it is a fucking pain in the asshole. Monthly over here is pretty damn simple. As long as as soon as you break that 21 exponential, very likely coming down to this 240 to 235 range right over here. And I think from a longer term perspective, you probably base somewhere right around this 215 to 220 area right over here. And you have to really be wondering, what does that mean for cryptocurrencies? I mean, this is kind of like a head and shoulders right here. It's not a perfect one, but I'm just curious what the measure move would point us back towards. I'm just curious for my own knowledge. Not that I'm saying that it is one, but yeah, it would be pointing you towards this kind of first block right over here. Also your green 55 exponential right around 235-ish area. So I do like that for good confluence. Needs to break the 21 first though. And remember, this is done on a monthly time frame. Major bearish divergence on the RSI, major bearish divergence on the Stokes over here. So keep that in mind. And again, you have to be wondering, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Because these things have been correlated on the bigger moves. So I do want to keep that in mind. As Bitcoin just kind of floats around in the mid 3400s right now. So let's actually get rid of this for now. I don't really want to play around with that idea too much. So Bitcoin, here's my general disposition on Bitcoin right now in the lower time frames. As long as you're below this 3600 level, which we spoke about yesterday, is kind of like being the former breakdown area. So as long as you're below there, I played this to the short side. We're just kind of filling out this range, and by the same token, don't really want to get too bearish until really you break 3300. But even more importantly, obviously 3200 about this lower trend line right over here, which I know is not that helpful because it's just your prior low, and it's just kind of like a chart guy's thing to say, like, well, the bears want to get lower lows. Well, yeah, no shit. I completely understand that. That's what makes trading this right now pretty damn hard, especially when you're coming around all those major supports and you just don't know if they're going to get front run by the big boys or not. So I'm more hands off trading this right now. Yes, it does look like it wants to come lower, no doubt about that, right here. But does it want to actually break this level? That's the real question. I don't really I don't want to have an opinion on it because I don't want to bias my own trading styles right now. I do believe Bitcoin comes lower over time. I strongly believe Bitcoin goes low over time, but how, when is that timing of that? This could take a lot longer than I think most people realize. Again, when we were looking at the potential timing on the BLX index, that was, in a bottom in perhaps April of next year. So that, you gotta fill out your time. There's probably going to be an amazing bull trap at some point in time as well, because we really haven't had like a significant one. I mean, yeah, you did have this area right over here where you rallied from about 36 to 43, which that's almost like a 15 to 20% move. So that's pretty good. But I don't think it's good enough. So probably do have a nastier one at some point in time and try to test maybe like, 42 or 4,500 at some point. At least that's what I want to be on guard for. So that's essentially what I'm looking at right over there. Again, MVT signals got another tick on it. It's heading down lower, but still nowhere near the bottom of this. And anytime that it, tops, it comes down typically into this lower echelon right now where my cursor currently is. So this thing has been pretty much perfect at calling tops in Bitcoin, and I would still put weight on this as it says you got plenty of room to the downside as it stands. What else do we want to look at? Yeah, CME's over here. CME's a beautiful, again, I don't know if I talked about this on yesterday's video. I hope I did. I know I talked about it on Saturday's video, but the big play is really just playing the gap fill right over here. So, that's also why we knew 3,600 was likely to be a sell on the first pass. And then after that, come back over here and you probably bounce here on the first pass. If after the bounce, which I'm actually getting like a few steps ahead of myself. I mean, technically the gap is all the way down around here, around 33.20. But after the potential bounce, if it comes back and revisits that level, that's going to be a pretty obvious sell in my opinion. So the bounce is likely to be a decent scalp. Does it actually reverse this thing back on and maybe test 3,600 again? Well, that's, right now it does feel weak. So I will say that this does feel like a bearish consolidation right here. Okay, what else do we have to look at? Let's go check out GBTC. GBTC, again, this is the difference between someone who is an analyst and someone who's a trader. GBTC just filled the gap last Friday and then back down again. Daily over here does not tell us too much. We are on our last support trend line, so you'd really hope that this thing does have more of a reaction coming today. But remember, traditional markets are kind of they ain't looking too damn strong right now. Futures are going to be opening a little bit lower, but again, a lot of time futures are just used for a little bit of fuckery, so don't want to put too much weight on that. To me, this is just mainly selling right here. You really have to go down and deep and dirty into the lower time frames to figure out this guy. But hey, I would imagine that on this last support right over here at around $3 and what is it, like 90 cents. Probably not going to break it on the first pass, and yes, this is the first pass. Really would like to see a bounce back into this area right over here, but you're in another range, and if you do lose that $3.90 area, I mean, it's a long ways down until your next support shelf. So yeah, this thing is really getting fucking cream pied. And I've seen enough fucking yeah. Anyways, when it comes down to, man, I'm looking at this and it doesn't look too pretty. If we bounce back up all the way to $4.48, I'd probably be a seller right over there. At least on the first pass. Overall, not the most pretty chart. Let's go check out Mr. Beaterall. How's he doing? He's been a canary in the coal mine. Yeah, same thing as Bitcoin, just propping up to your former breakdown trend line, getting rejected. Actually, like you could read this as 1, 2, 3 times. This is like a shelf of price action. I don't like the way that this looks, and people are going to be saying, but Ethereum's never going below $100 again. Well, it's living below $100 right now. I don't think it's getting back above $100 for a little while, or maybe not. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. Maybe back above $150 for a long time. 3-day dildo chart got death crossed quite some time ago. By the way, this was the 3-day dollar death cross on Mr. Beaterall. Price action had a pretty hefty response to it, about 59% down and counting. Still do not. I mean, if you look at the 3-day dollar chart right here, like that is not. Well, you have a little bit of a wick on it, but not the most encouraging. Need to see continuation above the high of this guy, which would be 105 and 67 cents on Finex. Again, definitely check your exchange, as Finex does have a premium rate. But hey, hit our lowest support trend line right around 88 bucks. Until that one actually breaks, I don't really, don't want to get too bearish on it. Just like Bitcoin breaking its current low at 3,200 again. I know it's not too helpful, but if that area were to break, I don't see much holding you up from about $60 to to about $50. Yeah, that's the next support range from what I see. So over, Jesus, I'm just looking at Litecoin right now. This thing is so fucking wrecked. It's ridiculous. Litecoin, like even popping back up and testing this whole area right here and immediately down. Wow, that is just nasty, man. Litecoin is just a great pump and dump. It's my favorite pump and dump because like the owner even tells you, he's like, or sorry, Charlie Lee even tells you, he's like, all right, guys, I'm selling at $400. Get ready for $20 Litecoin. I mean, he's telling it like it is, man. Does this thing go lower? I think it does. I mean, you have to be wondering, like, if Bitcoin goes lower, what happens to something like this? Probably goes lower as well. But does Bitcoin go lower like right now, like this week? That's the better question. And I don't really have an answer for that. I don't have an opinion on it. I just want to play the range right here. If you do break back above 3,600 and start closing some higher level dildos above there, I mean, this thing can easily run to like, 3,800, 4,000-ish area. Very, very possible. And maybe even hit the prior high at 4,300, which I do think happens at some time during a major bull trap. Does it happen soon is the question. I don't have a strong opinion on. Let's go over and check out the longs and shorts of it all, because now I actually can represent them in US dollars. So over here, and this is what you hear being touted upon on crypto Twitter and fucking TradingView and all the people on YouTube and all these great social media venues. You see these ones over here and people bring it up and they have their indicators and look all fucking professional, and it's become like a fucking meme now, and they say, guys, I've done the analysis and the shorts have never been higher. And guess what? You know what happens? You know what happened the last time they got this high? There was a squeeze. Except for the whole week beforehand. But don't forget about that. Just forget about that. Because these shorts, they're going to pay. Well, this is a very, very misleading way of representing it, because this is represented in the coins traded. Now, Bitcoin is trading around $3,500 right now, whereas over here in just even May and April of last year, it's like $10,000, more than about 3 times higher. Over here last October is like literally 5 times fucking higher. Now, if we represent this in dollars traded, are we at the all-time high? No. Well, that's so long, so we're nowhere near. But here's the shorts over here. No, we're nowhere near. In fact, funnily enough, I mean, you look at this over here, and in the last time it was really, really high was actually in October, funnily enough, and also in April during that massive squeeze right over here. As you can see right now, we're actually below like the median point. Now, of course, when you compare that with the longs, I mean, this is longs represented in dollars. This is just now. This actually looks a lot like the Bitcoin chart itself. It just looks really fucking ugly. But it is interesting to me that that you do see this kind of represented in both. Actually, in fact, this looks a lot like the GBTC chart. Jesus Christ, man, GBBC. What does that even mean? Gigantic BBC? British Broadcasting Corporation. But hey, there you go. Long just kind of getting shreked all the way, and shorts, they have been running the market, took a lot of profit over this area right over here, but now just kind of hanging around in this lull, maintaining a nice ebb and flow. So is this squeezable over here? Well, you have to be asking yourself, are people getting over aggressive with their shorts? Well, I would say doesn't really look like it to me. All the people who are putting on over here looks like they are kind of jumping off the train over here. They are on the right side of the trend. So, it's like, how much pressure are you really under? You really got to boost price action back up above like 4,000 before that becomes an issue again. So yeah, I just wanted to quickly show that, as that was, I thought that was quite interesting. So back on a Bitcoin right over here, and I'll wrap this bitch up. Basically, lower time frames, you got support right around, well, currently where we are actually. Right around this area. We kind of have already broken this area, it looks like. Or, sorry, it has not been confirmed just yet, but if we do end below $34 and $70 in the next 12 minutes and 41 seconds, then yes, this area will be broken. I don't see much holding up from this next support trend line right around, I mean, this whole area right here is going to be support, but you got this area right over here around 3,400. If that area fails, then you got 3320-ish area right over here, and then you got the prior low right over here around 3240 to the upside. upside, if you can break out of 3,600, that really does open up the potential for a nice run up. You know, yes, you technically have resistance at 3,800, but I believe that you would make your way into the 4,000s area right over here. But again, I don't like trading counter trend, especially in a very, very strong trend. So I'll just kind of lay off that guy. Could we be looking at a rising channel over here? I mean, the volume characteristics do work. It does look like one, and I do like how this lower support does line up with this horizontal right here at 3,400 even. And I do like how this upper resistance right over here lines up with our former breakdown point right around about 3,600. So I do like that for good confluence. Whichever way that it breaks out, again, typically a more bearish pattern, but can break out any fucking which way. I've seen every fucking pattern break out every which way, but I'll still be waiting for confirmation on this bitch. So again, that's going to do it for this morning. Hope everyone's having a beautiful morning. Hope everyone's having the best morning possible on this Monday, on this cryptocurrency Monday morning. So I'll be back on later with some live stream action, and I look forward to see you guys soon. Take care.